Well, Namaskar. Welcome to this show of the Global Governance News TV, and we'll discuss today Indo-US relation, a new perspective of the Biden government. And we have esteemed panelists. Before that, just I give you the intro about how our India is going now. Policy managers in New Delhi need to pay attention to the shifting domestic and the foreign imperatives that are shaping Washington foreign policy. Joe Biden's administration, the India-US relationship has been a broad positive with the standing changes of the administration in Washington. The early days of Biden administration has been marked by the tangible strategic move, such as the convening of the first virtual leadership summit of the Quad countries and invoking the spirit of the Quad. However, the Biden completed first the 100 days in office. Two events raised eyebrows in Delhi, and they gave corpus to the Indo-US Partnership Field Day, singing sang to the Hollywood out choir. So, and whatever just you see the U.S. government has done for the country, our India, is in a very big way. So, in U.S. emergency COVID assistance, just India sent assistance to the United States whenever its hospitals are strained early in the pandemic. The United States is determined to help India in this time of need. So, United States providing India the oxygen support, the oxygen concentrators, oxygen generation units, personal protective equipment, the vaccine manufacturing supplies, rapid diagnostic tests, therapeutics, public health assistance, and many things. So this is the pandemic time. Just we have seen how the Indo-US relationship has gone ups and downs, something feel by the different corners of the media as well as the observer on the Indo-US relation. So we have Mr. Lalit Jha, the panelist. He is a chief of bureau PTI from USA. Welcome Lalit ji in this show.
Thank
we
you.
have Vandana Jinganji from the Chicago, USA, senior journalist and social activist, and she has done a lot for the Indian community in this pandemic to send the oxygen concentrators for all, while individual level, just a door-to-door campaign and all. We have Dr. Aloka Sharma. She is a professor at the Delhi University and the keeping eye in the Indo-US relation. And we have Jigar Shah. He is just the part of the, he is a Republican and so administrator in the Parsippany Municipal Council. And also he is very happy today. He is candidate on in the primary election, Mr. Barborio. So thanks and congrats to your efforts, just your candidates on in your primary election. And we have Mr. Parijat Sharma. He's a former news editor, senior editor in the UNI, and worked for the many dailies and weeklies, and the keeping on eyes as the Indo-US relation and a foreign expert. Now, recently joined Anita Chaudhary ji. She's a senior journalist and colleague for the Global Governance News. So now we start today with Lalit ji. So how do you see the Indo-US relation, new perspective of the Biden government? You have covered the both government, I think, Republican government and Democratic. You have seen the Obama, you have seen the Bush, you have just seen the working officers last Mr. Trump, and now you are just observing Mr. Biden.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Thank you for organizing this important discussion on India-US relationship. I'll start with a little bit of disclaimer that I am here in my personal capacity and the views are not reflective that of the PTI, the organization of work for. It's purely mine.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank you. Coming to the India-US relationship, means it is driven by the national interest of both the countries, both India and the United States. Over the last 2 decades, it has evolved. It has evolved in a positive direction. It has received bipartisan support, whichever parties are in government in either of the country, be it the Republican and Democrats in the United States, or be it the Congress and the BJP or the coalition government in India as well. This is mainly because the relationship, it is in the national interest of both the countries that the world's two largest democracies come together. The common challenges that are there also brings the two countries together, be it China, be it climate change, or be it providing affordable health care to poorest of the poor in the world. All these things brings together. Where in the last since January 20, when Biden took over as the president of the United States, he has, I'll basically say, he has taken over the baton where President Trump left. And this has been the story of India-US relationship in the last 2 decades as well. When President Clinton was there during the Kargil crisis, the things started moving upwards. It was upward trajectory in the India-US relationship. When he left, President George Bush took over from him, and nuclear deal is a history again for that. After him, President Barack Obama, he invited then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh to the first state visit of his presidency. Everything is history over there. We moved several steps ahead during that 8 years. Then President Trump came in. We have 2 historic rallies. He stood by us when China was on against us on our borders on several issues. He stood with us, and now from where he left, President Biden has taken over. We have seen the last 1 month how the Biden administration has opened up its coffers and all its infrastructure and medical health facilities to help India, to assist India, and to cooperate with India to successfully launch its fights against COVID-19. That's what I will say the crux of the India-US relationship it is. I'll just stop here and be open to any questions. You're muted.
Kindly unmute yourself, sir.
Sorry.
Rakesh ji, you're mute.
So sorry. So just you have seen all the government covered all the government last, I think, 15 years, 20 years. So just how is this is the relation of Indo-US relation in this Biden government. So someone trying from the India and from the US, so relation will not be good and not with the in order. But now this all in track with our efforts of the foreign minister, Mr. Dr. S. Jaishankar, and he has been already ambassador in the USA from India. So now you think there's some smoothness, something. Do you think that there was some bitterness between last 1 month and 2 months before? Something was there?
No, I don't think so. There has never been any doubt about the future of India-US relationship. As long as there are common meeting grounds for the 2 countries, we have the same ecosystem. Both the people in both countries have the same ecosystem over there. Freedom of press, freedom of expression, democracy is there, right? When there was some kind of a apprehension that the Biden administration is not that putting priority on COVID-19 in India, it was basically the Indian Americans who started calling the congressmen, lawmakers, senators, and people in the administration to tell them, hey, look, this is the situation in India is quite serious now. You need to help. So this relationship is not only driven. Government comes at the second step. It's driven by the people-to-people relationship. It's driven by the business-to-business relationship, and then the government is basically a catalyst in that factor. And President Biden has seen this relationship evolve the last 5 decades, 72, 71, when he became Senate. It was at that time US started its opening up its door for China, and ever since now its circle is back to the square one at that place. In the past, he had spoken about around 15 years ago, he gave an interview to India Abroad reporter Aziz Hanifa. That time, he said that his vision, his dream is that by 2020, the best relationship in the world should be India and US. And 15 years later, he has got an opportunity to realize that dream. When he was the vice president, he went to Delhi, he went to Mumbai, and in his speech he said he wants to increase the bilateral trade to $500 billion per year. So he has got an opportunity, and he's moving. I think slowly and steadily he's moving in that direction.
So that's so nice, Laliji. Vandanaji, just you're living in Chicago. I think everybody says that Chicago is the land of Democrats. So now the government is from the Democrats and Mr. Biden there. So how do you just analyze the past Trump and Mr. Biden? After take the inputs from the Jigar Shah, from the Republican view as well as the tri-state view.
I am odd in the lot. staying.
Yeah.
But like when we talk about Chicago, what Chicago has brought to the Indian American community, we all know that September 11th, 1893, it started when Swami Vivekananda gave his speech from the Fullerton Hall in Art Institute, Sisters and Brothers of America. That actually paved the path for we Indo-Americans, Indian Americans, like gave us our identity that we can. Indian Americans have contributed so very much when we talk about, and that's what I always say. Earlier, it used to be India, they used to see land of charmers, snake charmers and this like
Longest
cow.
story,
But,
Vandana, the
but,
longest story now.
but
Longest story
wait,
now.
but,
Yeah.
but what India has contributed, I always say that a day without Indian in America is not going to be possible. What we are doing right now, you and me were talking, Lalit is in DC, we have Jigarji is in New Jersey, we have somebody from New Delhi, somebody from Bangalore, and you are also in New Delhi somewhere. So
Yeah.
that technology, Indians have contributed so much. Indian Americans, every sixth physician is an Indian American. You know that. Coming back to the relationship, this president has been a vice president under the tenure of Barack Obama. Barack Obama is from Chicago. We know him way before he became even the president. When he was state senator, then he became senator, and then it's the president, and now it's in history, to be honest. India being the oldest, US being the oldest democracy, India being the largest democracy, they are strategic alliance. We know that. As Lalit was mentioning, we have so many common platforms. Let's talk about terrorism. US faced it, India has been facing for a very long time. So we joined hands in fighting that out. Then came the pandemic, and the President Trump was bold enough to say this is in Chinese virus. We just discussed that yesterday. Indian diaspora has played a key role in waking and shaking up, like how the system works here, talking to their congressmen about support to India. Now getting vaccines, because the concentrators, whatever we did as a diaspora, that was on an individual capacity, like from Seva International, VHPA, and many, many, many more organizations. But now it's government to government. When US needed it, India came without even asking. But here we have to ask. So that's what it is. And now the vaccine, this
That
going.
was a there's a chloroquine the tablets to the Trump government or the India just
Absolutely,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. But now the vaccines which are going to go, because there has been, like, they are asking 80 million vaccines which are being spared, so that US will be giving. But US is going to be giving it to all the countries. But they are not giving it like equally as the size of population, which should have been there, because India has almost like 1.3 to 4 billion people officially. If we are giving equally to every country, then it is better that they give it to one country and eradicate that pandemic forever. But India, US should share the technology so India can manufacture that and give it to other countries also. That is what I would definitely demand from United States of America. And I think that is the pressure that we're going to put now in future.
So nicely you elaborated how the Biden government is doing and the Indians in America is doing now. So I just community leader also, Mr. Jigal Shah. Just I'll take input from the Mr. Jigal Shah. How just you are politically also active and socially active in USA, and how just how would you just give in the special marks to the Biden government? How is doing well as you are declared Republicans? So please.
No, it's not just being about Republican or Democrat. It's at the end of the day when we're discussing about
Yeah.
India-US relation. I
Hmm.
believe both countries, as earlier they said, both countries are one of the largest democratic country. They both need each other. In reference to past government, President Trump, I believe, had a lot more friendlier relation, a lot easier. Republican Party had supported a lot. Biden government has some pressures from other countries that he's also affected by, where President Trump had a lot more support for India that I actually have seen in both sides. But at the end of the day, my feeling is both government needs each other and they both try to work with each other and the benefit of both the country. At the end of the day, it's the benefit of both the countries which helps each other. But that's my opinion. I believe the Trump government was a lot more cooperative with the Indian Prime Minister Modi, and here I believe is a lot of respect for Prime Minister. As you remember, the Senator Panaccio, or senator from here, he was in one of the time your panelist, and he had for President Trump to make sure that he supports India for a permanent UN seat. And I have sent you the picture and the form that he had put it in. So we have supports, but I believe, this is personal opinion, Biden government has some of the people who is putting a little pressure to support other countries that President Trump was not supporting, and a benefit of India. But at the end of the day, my opinion is both countries have to work with each other, and Biden government will work with India also.
Jigar bhai, just what you just expressed your view. Do you think that Trump was better for the India and Biden government is better for India? How do you analyze and how do you think?
I believe we had more support for India from Trump government. That is my opinion from what I had used to see and what I have seen so far. And what I have seen in starting of the Biden government, I felt there was some pressure on the Biden government, that helps the other way also. There are a lot of, it's always at the end of the party who's supporting them and who they need. And they have to listen to the supporters also. But I believe the Trump government was a lot better for India that I have seen.
I'll take from the Lalitji also and Vandana ji later on. But I'll take Dr. Aloka Sharma. She is a teacher at Delhi University. So Aloka ji, how do you analyze just Indo-US relation, the new perspective? What is your intake?
Thank you, Rakesh ji, for giving me opportunity. Now, I must say that whatever our panelists are saying, Jigar ji saying or Lalit ji saying, but you see, any country whatsoever, howsoever powerful that country is, the country needs other nations to remain so forever. Nowadays, you see, no country can live alone and they say, yes, we are self-sufficient. Every country requires the other country. And India being the largest, number 2 population, and I must say that it is the country having the maximum young people. Now you see China, Japan, and other European countries, they are growing older. So India has the potential of giving support to any country who wants to flourish or who wants to, excel in any field. Now, like we say that if whatever Trump government has done, the Biden government also has to support India if they want to support their own country, because they cannot afford to leave India, because we all know the relation of US and China. Yes, it was bitter in Trump's regime, but even in Biden's regime, it is not very cordial. And if a country has a better relationship with China, what is the alternative for that country? That country is India. And we are developing as a manufacturing hub. We have the younger generation. We have the expert people. We have educated and efficient people. So I think any country in the world cannot leave India. So Biden government also cannot take the risk of supporting other nations. And we have seen in many of the speeches and of the government and the administration of Biden government that India is a strategic partner and we want to have a better relationship with India in future. And moreover, a country like US has their capital and the monetary interest. The defense companies they have a lot of business in US and they always search for the markets. India being such place that we have always problems from our neighbors, we need the arms and ammunition. And if US has a good relationship with us, definitely those companies will try to sell their arm and ammunition to the country. So as far as monetary interest is there, yes, India is also again a very important country for them. So there can be various interests which US can have, and Biden government cannot afford to displease India for those interests. This is my view.
Thanks for your inputs. Just you was trying to focus on this perspective, how just India-US relation is going on. So now, welcome to Mr. Alok Lahad from Spain. He's also senior journalist and living in Spain more than 25 years. That's also a very good input from for the Indo-US relation. So I'll take just info from Mr. Parijat Sharma, the senior journalist from the India. So Parijat ji, just the changing scenario, how do you analyze the relationship of the Indo-US relation?
During the run-up to the presidential elections in the US, there were some doubts that the intensity of Indo-US relation under Trump's presidency may not be the same under Biden's regime. There were some statements regarding human rights, J&K. There were some doubts that the intensity may not continue the same. But ultimately, the U.S. deep state policies, they have continued. There has been no change in that. Biden has overturned many of the policies which were there in the Trump regime. But the policy towards U.S. Towards India continues almost the same as all the other the policies regarding India. They continue the same. There isn't much change in that. In fact, they have gotten to the better, if I say. And this is mainly because of China, trying to change the global political and strategic regime, and now India is something that US would always want on its side if it needs to keep China at bay. And I think the defense relationship, we've been the driver of Indo-US relationship. There have been differences on other points, but on defense, it is just been going up and up. So, and I see that in future also, Indo-US relation, would improve or get even better because of the challenge from China, and what India can probably do in this. This is what I feel. Even the on the health thing earlier, there was some raw materials have been stopped for Covishield, but eventually they were sent over. India had helped US when it was needed. US also reciprocated. So I think it is for the better than relations are going to go up. This is what I feel.
Okay, just you feel it, relation will go up, as Lalit Jha also saying. Now the changing scenario, the relation will also go up. So we have Anita Chaudhary ji and Alok Lahad ji. Anita ji, do you hear me? Anita ji?
Yes, sir.
So as a close observer of the MEA in Delhi, just day-to-day coverage, just so how do you analyze the situation now? Just you have the very close eye on the Minister of External Affairs, the briefing, and as well as the development. So last 2 and 3 months, many scenarios have been changed and going to be changed now. So how do you analyze the situation now?
Look, earlier people was thinking that because of Houston, the Howdy Modi, the way the Modi has done the campaigning for former President Donald Trump, maybe it will impact on the relation of the India and America under the regime of the
you're right.
President Biden. But if we will go through the 100 days of the Biden and his policy towards India and Indian diaspora, you will find that it's very friendly and in a very mature way. Earlier, under the regime of the Donald Trump, sometimes he was very, very positive. Sometimes the kind of statement he was giving or he was tweeting, it seems that it was creating some kind of confusion. But now we can see that the Biden policy is very sharp and straight. whatever he is doing for his close allies and the kind of policies he is making, it's showing that he will lead it in a very mature way. And I am very sure the way Biden is reacting, the way Biden is acting, and the way Biden is in conversation with the India in engagement, his engagement and his policies is, is for India. It is very positive manner. First thing I just want to mention here that it's from last 1.5 year, it's a COVID time, and the movement worldwide movement is blocked. But the first foreign tour from Biden regime as from his defense minister was to India only. He chose India, and it was a very warm meeting during that time. So we should not forget that America as a country, they know that what is the strength of media, India. I'm sorry. What is the strength of India and how India is emerging under the regime of PM Modi, and the way India is opening all the channels for not only for America but European country and other countries also, and the way India is fighting against terrorism, the way India is putting its words in UN, it's in a firm way. It's showing that in coming days India is going to be a very powerful country, and America is a very if you will see that the American diplomacy, it's a very strategic and very strong. They are very opportunist. Whenever you will be, if you are strong, they are with you. If you are weak, they will use you. They will exploit you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they are very opportunist, and their policies are very opportunist. Now the India, either it's India or Indian diaspora, they are contributing a lot for America, and America knows that if India in present scenario, if India has a very warm relation with America has will be in winning position. America has to manage Russia also. America has to manage China also, and US China trade war. America can play. India can play as a catalyst role. So America needs India. It's a need of America.
Okay, I think you are right. The both countries needs to each other, and with all the so many things are there. So I'll take from the Alok Laharji sitting in Spain, and just to analyze the Indo-US relation, and already he has been a GNU many years, and doctorate in the subjects, and so very fast subject research scholar also. So how do you analyze the present situation? Just already, I think you are some late, but no issue. So how do you analyze the Indo-US relation in the present perspective, and during the COVID, and I think after the COVID, how you think? Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. I think the US relationship vis-a-vis India, it is always determined by the internal politics of United States of America. Let's see it in perspective. For example, in the Trump regime, the slogan was America First. Now, in case of when Biden comes in, it is restoring America. So Trump, being a non-politician president, as I call him, I think he used to make certain statements which are not very diplomatic in nature, as the previous speaker had also pointed out. But once this happens and President Biden comes in to power, I think his policies would be more emphasized towards the middle class. And keeping in view that it is COVID time, the health plan would be the continuation of the Obamacare concept. Now, these two slogans would be marking the foreign policies. They have done it in the past. Now, when we started off in the beginning of the regime, I think people were very hopeful that things would be better because we have a vice president who is of Indian origin, Kamala Harris, and till date, any president who's had the maximum number of people in his cabinet from Indian origin, it is President Biden. So people were very hopeful. But unfortunately, then 2 or 3 things happened. One was this apparent transgression into the Indian exclusive zone, EZ, I think, which was uncalled for. It was very wise of India to not overreact and just keep it within the limits it should be. Thank God we have a very seasoned politicians as our foreign minister. And the second was again he was using the wartime law, which President Trump had commissioned, to not send the raw material for making of the vaccines in India, which again they understood after the call from the National Security Advisor to his security advisor. They understood that both the countries need each other. We didn't bring it out of proportion again, which was very wise on the Prime Minister also. They had a talk, and Biden administration was apparently under pressure, and that's the reason they started giving help. So suddenly we had to run to give first aid to the first 2 or 3 steps which they had taken, which to my understanding were not very good. And then suddenly you see Air Force C5M Super Galaxy coming to India, getting all kind of COVID test equipment and other equipment and all that. So thank God, good sense prevailed, and then things were getting back to normal. Now, my opinion is that the Indo-US relationship in Southeast Asia, it is 3-pronged relationship. First is the direct relationship with which is Indo-US relationship, which is based on the need and the geopolitical vision which both the countries have. Now, when it comes to this, keeping in view that India is the biggest importer of arms, so this is interest of the United States that it maintains a very good relationship with India. But then there is a subtitle to it, like anything which, if India goes overboard on this relationship, then our ties with Russia get suffered. So it's not an easy relationship in both the cases. Like, for example, in case we are buying too much, or we are told to ignore, or let's say, the embargo they have on Russia because of Ukraine, then if we don't buy armament from Russia, which will spoil our relationship with Russia, and we have to keep in mind that more than 60% of the arms used by the Indian Army are manufactured or spare parts come from Russia itself. Now, the second is the US-China relationship. The US-China relationship was on its lowest when President Trump was there, because of the apparent, it's a relationship. They have to maintain a balance there, because on one side, China is important. On the other side, it is also one of US major competitors, not in manufacturing I'm talking about, but as the world superpower. And the Chinese will not be as forgiving as probably Russians were in the Cold War days, because they are outright to do what they feel like doing. Now that also has some undertones, like in case the Biden administration is more friendly, which we are expecting that it will be more friendly towards China than probably Trump administration was. In that case, again, if they go overboard, then Indo-US relationship, it will take a hit. And the third one is the US-Pakistan relationship. Now, President Trump had said that they'll be removing their army as an election campaign, and he fulfilled that promise. Now, with the absence of the US army in Afghanistan, I think Taliban is going to get stronger and stronger. So we needed that presence, but somehow it was an election promise which was made and which was carried out. Now, to keep Afghanistan peaceful, US would require the help of Pakistan, which is again very delicate for them, because if they go overboard with Pakistan, then US relationship with India also gets spoiled. So it's a very delicate situation for both of us. In case we go tilting more towards Russia now, then it's troublesome for our relationship. And in case they go overboard in any of these 3 or 4, then obviously the relationship with India also suffers. And then we have things like Quad, where they want to go, first they were not much interested, and then suddenly they came up and they said, like, we want to, make it into a permanent group like a thing, which people started interpreting, especially the newspaper in China, their national voice. They were saying that it might become a South Asian or an Asian, this type, a NATO kind of a thing, which obviously India was very smart enough to say that no, it will not be signing any kind of a military agreement which is similar to a NATO kind of a thing. So the relationship, I don't think it's going to be a major change. We have done some first aid in the beginning of the relationship. I think better sense will prevail, and we'll continue the relationship as friendly it has been all through the. You have to keep in mind one thing. Most of the time, they are going in favor of certain nations, but when they come to the public opinion, for example, our neighboring countries, the public opinion about USA in these countries is very negative.
No,
and whereas if you go on the other side,
Alokji, just you have very nicely pointed out all the angles of Indo-US relationship with China and the Pakistan and Afghanistan. All the points just you try to just included in your the narration. Just you shared your views. So now this is now the I'll ask Mr. Lalit Jha. How does you see the relation in Indo-US relation, role of China, either the China Biden government and Constitutional Committee to look into the matter, how China involved in corona spreading or not, one, and how do you think this relation? I think after Obama, if you analyze, that was I think after Obama or during Obama, if any US premier came to India, they were coming via Pakistan. If you see the past the trains and whatever they are following the tradition, and they diplomatically they try to analyze the things and going on that just to show the India, okay, you are not important for me, Pakistan also important. But in the last Trump government, that was some I think balancing, not just not like that. No any flight come via Pakistan to India. So something was balanced, as I think you can analyze better than me because you are living there. You have seen closely the all working and the governance of the U.S. government and governance. So just how do you just think this relation, the Indo-US, China, one, India, US, Pakistan, number two, how just elaborated Mr. Alok Lahadi?
Yeah, thank you. It is a very lively discussion. I'm pleased that we got to listen and hear such a diverse view, enriched view on India-US relationship. We are from a country of Chanakya, and he has said that in politics and diplomacy, nothing is permanent. What is permanent is two things. One is our national interest. Second is our territorial integrity. As long as these two things are served by friendship with any country, be it US, China, Pakistan, we should go by that. And that should be that should be the policy of the government, whoever is in the power. And this has been the policy of the United States for the last several decades, last 100 years. It is driven by their national interest. It is not driven by their ideology or anything else, or friendship. They always think about what is in the best interest of the country. And the United States leadership the last 2 decades are thinking, or the deep state, some of you have mentioned, firmly believe that it is in their national interest to have friendship with India. Now it's up to India to decide, to think about, is it in national interest to have a good relationship with the United States or any other country. In fact, Vajpayee ji had said that we can change our friends, but not our neighbors. So we have to live with our neighbors. And repeatedly, our several, since Vajpayee and previously as well, Manmohan Singh, and previously as well, all of our government have sincerely made a sincere and honest effort to improve relationship with both Pakistan and China. But they see it otherwise. But doesn't stop us to keep on trying to have a better relationship with Pakistan and China. Now, when it comes to China factor in India-US relationship, I don't think it's driven by that, but it does play an important role. Today, the national security apparatus in the United States thinks, and they have gone public multiple times as well. Even this week, there was a hearing in the Congress by Secretary of State Tony Blinken, where he went out public and said that the biggest threat to the United States national security right now and in coming years is going to be China. As one of our panelists said, that no country can handle the challenges of today alone, and they need the help and support of other countries. That's what US is trying about. US is trying to seek and support, build a coalition so that they can successfully fight against a common enemy. US is not as strong as it used to be 10 years or 20 years ago. China is growing strong. The gap is still there, but they are catching up the gap over there. On when it comes to India-Pakistan relationship, means is no longer a factor in India-US relationship at all. It is a small factor as long as US has a presence in Afghanistan, they will continue to cooperate with it. And you never know how it plays in the next coming years post withdrawal from Afghanistan, but it is no longer an important factor in India-US relationship. There has been immense cooperation between the two countries, intelligence agencies, army, and otherwise as well. In fact, there's more cooperation between India, US, and Afghanistan, and these two countries are also talking to other countries as well. In the Middle East, Saudi, Qatar, who play an important role in Afghanistan, how to bring peace and prosperity and a long-lasting development in Afghanistan. That's what they're talking about.
No, that's okay. So nicely, just you have placed your views. Just India, US, and Russia role, the Russia factor in the relation of Indo-US. Something you have to add?
Yes, definitely. Means US, if you see from the US perspective, they would not like India to have any kind of friendship with Russia. But it is India's national interest, right? Russia has been our close friend, has been historic friend. They have been with us when we needed them a lot. So we cannot leave them like this. This is purely our decision. This is India's sovereign decision to have friendship and continue to have that friendship with Russia. Our annual summit, no prime minister has stopped that. Despite that, we are having a more strengthened, stronger ties with Russia, with America. We have continued to have our annual bilateral summit with Russia as well. Russia is still our largest supplier of arms and ammunition. I think more than 80% of our arms and ammunition come from them. We have a strong people-to-people relationship. A lot of Indian students go to Russia or the former USSR to do medical and other engineering educations. There is a business relationship as well. So both are a different pillar. Both are independent of each other, and both friendship with both the countries serve our national interest. That's what our national policy apparatus believe in.
So nicely spoken. Just you placed your views, Vandanaji. So just how you analyze all the situations. So one question, well, I'll take the last. Who is better and who was the better? That the Trump and the Biden. That is a different question, the politically and socially, and the community-wise. Just Indians living in US and the outside, how they analyze, how they feel. That is a different one. Whatever, just Jigar Bhai just smiling. And what he stated about whatever he likes Trump, so he'll advocate Trump as a Republican. It's his take. So, Vandanaji, how just you see that new perspective, just how the Biden government cooperated in this pandemic time, and how smoothly going on, as Lalitji say, just quoted our Chanakya. We are Lalitji come from the land of Chanakya. So I'll state here. I'll just I want to just take from you. How do you just think the new perspective with the national interest will be imminent for the both countries, and how?
It's a need of both the countries. First of all, India cannot be ignored, and India has to realize its own strength. First of all, that is very important. You can understand from the perspective of government, that is fine. But individuals, it should come nation first. Each and every person living in India as an Indian citizen, they have to take pride in their own country. As we say, I am an American. So for me, America comes first, right? This being my Karambhumi. So, but when comes Janambhumi, so that is what I'm talking to you right now. So I am balancing it out. If we were doing this lobbying to get help for India, so that was, we are doing it for a Janambhumi because we came, it doesn't mean my brothers are suffering there, my sisters are
Janani Janbhumi
so,
Swargadapi Gareshi.
so that's what, like Lalit did mention, Indo-USSR relationship, India should not be worried about what US thinks about it. Because I can have many friends. Maybe one of my friend may not be your friend. So it doesn't mean that because I don't know what transpired between the two of you. So let these two be parallel. America can have its own standing and USSR can have its own standing. There should not be, oh, US doesn't like it, so I cannot be friend to Russia. That is not right. And equally, because as the paradigm shift, because the diaspora here is very strong than the diaspora back home back in Russia, to be honest. Here we are like almost 4 million and we are taking it up. Hello, you cannot ignore us. Hello, we are contributing this. Now it is the time for you. Let it be
Something
Trump
network
or
problem.
Biden. Because it is the people, those who are living there. Because most of the people, those who come, they realize because in the Modi's regime, like, because Indians are seeing themselves with a more great pride now. Because when we talk about when it happened, the solo trip, any president of United States of America, it was Trump who took it. And he went only to India. His travel time was much more than the time that he spent in India. So, and we would expect this, the same continuity of the relationship from Biden. And we, as the people of diaspora, will keep our pressure on to this administration. You should realize India has never invaded any country, and India has been always helping. So, Vasudev Kutumbakam, we always believe in, but not only believe, we practice that. So, this is time for them to realize because US also needs India, and India also needs US.
So nice of you, Jigar bhai. How does the trade relation? Just always you are also involved in some business relation, the bilateral trade relation. Always keep an eye how the things after Biden, the trade between the India and US become smoother. Before than that, or something should be taken care. Unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
Sorry. I believe as far as the trade relation is concerned, both countries are mutually want to do the trade relation with each other. India is the largest democratic and the population wise, we have so many citizens in India. So of course, USA has a lot more interest to work with India. And since US also have issues with China, and so I believe that preferably as far as the trade relation is concerned, I believe both the countries will be working together for mutual interest and benefits. In reference to earlier, that when we spoke about the Republican Party or Democrat Party, it wasn't because I was taking sides of Republican Party. I was just trying to say that what Trump government had done versus what Biden government has started doing it. And that was my opinion, saying Trump government was a lot more lenient in supporting the Indian issues in the world market or any supports that we needed. Versus, if you remember, Biden government, as I said before, once before, every Democrat is the one who criticized Modi government in reference to Kashmir and other issues. So it's not about Republican Democrat, but it's more about who is going to support. But at the end of the day, I believe even the Biden government will work with, of course, our Indian government and Indian policies. But in reference to trade, I believe both have interest in each other's country, and USA will be just cooperative because they need our Indian market.
Okay, so nicely, but I'll take the Lalitji just in between. After that I'll take the Parijat and Aloka and Anitaji and Alok Lahadi also. That's a very pertinent question. Just always it does thrust on Jigar bhai. Trump was better than Biden, so Trump was so lenient to India rather than Biden. How do you think? How do you analyze?
Asking me?
Yeah. This is Lalitji.
I don't think though we can compare this. This is a marathon. and they have a baton, right, which was started from President Clinton. Bush had it, Obama had it, Trump has it, and he passed on to President Biden. It's the same thing, right? So we are all the presidents are running and trying to reach out to that goal. It's not going to a smooth ride as well. There will be bumps on the road. Sometimes the baton might fell down. We'll pick it up, but we are going. India and US together are going to win this race, and we'll reach that marathon. That's what I want to say. We can't.
Okay. Just you also diplomatically answered, just a senior journalist and a senior journalist covering the White House, and very that's nice one. That's okay. Your take is according to what one journalist, unbiased journalist, would think like that. So now the small question to every panelist. The time is running out. We have the 5-6 minutes. So we have the 7 panelists. So this is a very pertinent question regarding an Indo-US relationship and how the person analyzed. Actually, a very nice discussion is going on. I'm thankful to all panelists who has given their deliberation and their thoughts and very deeply and acute analysis. So one statement was very popular after winning the Biden, and we also quote, just to add, the Kamala Harris. That statement of our Prime Minister Modi that time in the Texas, Houston, howdy Modi, ab ki baar Trump sarkar. So now I'll take the last two, Jigar Bhai, and start from Bandana ji. And so after Bandana ji, I'll take Lalit ji. How do you analyze this statement and the Indo-US relation perspective?
You know, this statement was given by Shali Shalap Kumar, Shali ji. And Shali is also out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Trump supporter, a Republican. And he used to call Reagan on steroid to Trump. So we do know this happened like not 2020, I mean 2016 elections. So this slogan came, and all the channels in India also picked it up, and that is why, like, because it was ab ki baar Modi sarkar say, it was like ab ki baar Trump sarkar. So it became like, you know, billion viewers over that. We all know that. And then when Howdy Modi came, the event itself, like, or we were expecting, I was there in person. We were expecting the President Trump has come, like, you know, earlier. It was a surprise, just 2 days before they decided that he's going to be there. And you can imagine, like, from Trump and Modi both sharing the stage for equal amount of time. Like, even Lalit was there too. People expected that he may leave, but he sat for the whole time in that. And then Modi ji did his own charisma, making him walk all over the
I'm not going to detail way, Bandanaji. I'm not going to detail way. My straight question, straight answer, if possible. In diplomacy, there is no any straight answer, not a straight question. But I'm just trying for
I will answer
straight. For the both country. Please.
It cannot. India cannot be ignored. India is going to be more strengthened. Let it be Biden. Let it be 2024 Trump again. Who knows? I answered it.
Parijat ji, how do you analyze the statement? As somebody has criticized in India, actually, that statement. And I named the Congress party, how they are just Indian prime minister should talk like that. That's why I asked a question to all the esteemed panelists.
Indian party, Congress party to hamesha criticize karti rahi hai. So that is what that...
Bandana ji, I'm talking another way. Lalit can understand. Alok Lahadi also smiling.
Don't compare it, Rakesh ji. It was a Shakti Pradarshan of India in Houston, America. And that it was not for... Trump was a trump card to show that the strength of India, and that Biden has also realized that, yes, India has such kind of power, that kind of cadre. So I have to manage Indian diaspora in India if I want to rule. I want to be in power.
My question is different. You are going a different way. My question is, how do you analyze in present scenario? Now, I'll take Parijat ji and Alok ji, then I'll just last one, the Lalit ji, and with super editorial comments. I can there is no any super editorial comment, but I'm adding just with the minute. So actually, Parijatji, just as analyst, how do you analyze the statement
I
of the?
see it from I see it from the Indian perspective. For me,
Please.
one party or the other in US would make lesser difference. I see there is a continuum. There was one party or people, both parties now in US realize the importance of Indian diaspora, which is coming to the fore. One party was trying to get it to its side. That is okay. I think we should feel good about it. For me, one Republicans or Democrats, for me it's okay, but because I see it that there will be a continuum because of our strength, our Indian diaspora there, and the US needs India or because of geopolitical, geostrategic needs for business, as well as India needing US to better its military hardware, to grow in economically, grow in business, and to fight, China, Pakistan, or now directly China itself. It needs US, and I think both countries know it, and I don't see a difference. There are problems, some problem or the other, but if there is a will, there is a way, and I think there is a will to take it forward, and those things are then rectified as things go. But there is definitely a movement further, and irrespective of which party is there.
So nicely just spoken, Dr. Aloka Sharma.
Right, sir. I endorse the view given by the other panelists, and any government in US, maybe in future government also, cannot take India lightly, because they cannot ignore India in their own interest. Basically, I must say that US needs India, and we also need US. So it is the importance of the country, the diaspora, which clearly reflects that the Biden has the administration having maximum people Indian American. So you see, in this way, they try to reflect that yes, India is important for them, and Biden government should also understand this, that they need India is a big market, and definitely for in their interest, India is very important strategically, politically, and for other purposes. So I think importance of India is proved by these kind of statements in America.
Okay, Alok Lahji.
I mean, I'll just stick to the slogan you mentioned, Ab Ki Baar Trump Sarkar. If we go by the book, it is, it's not very diplomatic to say something like this. But at the same time, we should understand that Prime Minister is not an amateur. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and people around him knew what he was doing. So I think it was part of the moment, and it was very well planned. I don't think it was very well planned. It just happened. But then we took the maximum profit out of it, keeping in view that the US-India relationship economically is of...
Alokji, that was historic. This is a historic announcement and the statement made by any Indian Prime Minister in the history of the Indo-US relationship. Any bilateral relationship.
PM Modi has that kind of nature, sir. He always get personal. He always do international politics with personal approach.
No, okay, that's
also started
on that time, Joe Biden was not in scene, and because of Corona, Trump is not in not in.
Anitaji, not like that. Sorry, not like that. So I'll take final take with Lalit K. Jhaji. Just to analyze critically and whatever analytical way. Lalit Jhaji.
Yeah, thank you for doing this interesting discussion. I like it. As Bannadi has said, the slogan "Ab Ki Baar Trump Sarkar" was coined in 2016 elections. It was not a new slogan. And the best part of both India and USA is we are fortunate enough that our founding fathers have given us some key principles of human rights, which is freedom of expression. Having said that, if you look into the context, what he said when he used the slogan "Ab Ki Baar Trump Sarkar," it was in the context of how then President Trump, has love and affection for India, that he used this slogan in Hindi language during 2016 elections. It was
but announced by Prime Minister Modi, Prime Minister of India. My question is.
Yeah, and it was not meant for 2020 elections. India has a strong tradition of not interfering in the internal affairs of any country.
Yeah.
So India, Prime Minister Modi never endorsed and never used that slogan to endorse President Trump for 2020 elections. Having said that, his charisma is so much. You have seen a pattern of wherever Prime Minister goes in most of the democratic countries like Canada, Britain, Australia, and the US, just before the elections, ruling party of that country always use his charisma to attract the Indian Americans, Indian diaspora votes towards them. You have seen how it happened in London, the big stadium, where in Canada, just before the election, the Prime Minister with him flew from one place to other to attend the rally. Same is happened just before the elections, a year before the elections in Australia and in United States too. So we need to give it in context. It was not. The slogan was not used to endorse President Trump.
Okay, now I agree with that. I should be agree with all the panelists, whatever is stated here regarding the Indo-US relationship, new perspective after Biden government. This is our first series of our discussion, Indo-US relation. We'll continue the next one, and I'll invite you all as panelists, so who are just advocate and Indo-US relation very well and very systematic manner and very categorically pointed out each and every points regarding just to go ahead into strengthen the Indo-US relationship in perspective manner. So nice of you. Thanks to all to participate in our very live discussion. Very interesting. So nice to you. And we'll meet again in the Global Governance News TV in this platform. And so thanks to you and thanks to all. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Bharat.
Thank you.